Hello. It's been about a month since stay-at-home orders were first initiated. During that month, we've all experienced a number of different emotions. And at various points, you've likely felt uncertain, sad, anxious, lonely, and even scared. That's exactly why we, the members of the Tau Beta Omega chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, want to take a few minutes to do a mental health check-in with you. Hello, my name is Dr. Mesha Ellis. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist, and I'm going to be the one to help you gauge how your self-care has been over the past month, as well as help to make plans for the upcoming months. And please keep in mind that what we will be discussing is applicable to both children and adults. And so adults, as you're watching this, you may want to use the information to help you model the coping strategies that are helpful for younger people. So when we think about self-care, I'm going to point out 5 different aspects of it today for us to keep in mind. The first is we want to check our emotions. We also want to check our thoughts. We want to engage in constructive coping. We want to connect with others. And we want to seek assistance when we need it. So when we consider checking our emotions, the first thing we want to do is notice what we are feeling. We want to acknowledge even that we do have emotions. I know for some of us, the idea of having emotions or being emotional or being in your feelings is considered a weakness. The truth is actually a sign that you're human and that you're alive because you are experiencing emotions. And so what we want to do is really notice when we are experiencing some type of emotion. It's great if there are happy emotions or pleasant emotions, but we also want to pay attention to when we're feeling the uneasy, unpleasant, or even vulnerable emotions. And once we do acknowledge that we are experiencing something, we want to kind of do a deeper check-in and name the actual feelings that we're experiencing. The reason why I suggest that we do that is because what tends to happen when people don't name their emotions, we frequently experience more than one emotion at a time. And so we can feel very overwhelmed when we don't tease apart the separate emotions that we're experiencing. When we tease them apart, we're able to deal with each one individually, and we may see that the issue isn't as big, or the experience isn't as big as we may be perceiving it, because it seems this ominous big thing. When we actually look and name the feelings, we're able to kind of break it apart so that it's more manageable. So you want to name the emotions, and you want to go beyond just mad, sad, happy, and glad. There are nuances in our emotions, and the more specific we are, the more helpful it is to us. Also, we want to allow ourselves to experience the feelings that we have. We don't want to kind of, pretend like we don't have them. And we also don't want to try to keep ourselves from experiencing them. What will happen when we do that is that it's kind of like a pipe. And when that pipe gets backed up enough, we start to have leakage. We don't want to have leakage of emotions, because then we can't control what's going on. And so when there's when there's leakage, you'll have and it may come out at unpredictable times. And so what we want to do is be able to allow ourselves to experience emotions and feelings, knowing that they will not last forever. If you're experiencing an unpleasant emotion, allow it to move through you like a wave, because that's the way that they move. We may have a rising, and then we have a decrease. Our emotions cannot last perpetually. We're not designed that way. And so if we allow our emotions to come and go, they don't seem as scary, they don't seem as troublesome, and we know that they will go away. That particular unpleasant emotion will go away, and we'll have other emotional experiences. Also, when we do experience strong emotions, we want to engage in self-soothing behaviors to help us to cope with the discomfort and with the feelings of vulnerability. And so self-soothing comes in a number of different strategies. Some of the strategies that I'll be talking about today, like deep breathing, going for walks, talking to others, temporarily distracting ourselves, allowing ourselves room to be able to cope appropriately with the emotions. We want to check our thoughts. And so the first thing you want to do is notice what your self-talk is. What are you saying? What's the running dialogue in your mind? Is it positive? Is it negative? Is it doom and gloom? Is it, rosy? What's your self-talk like? Because if it's negative or overly positive, we want to have a realistic view of what's going on. And so as you're checking your thoughts and your self-talk, you want to see if you're engaging in any stinking thinking. And when I say stinking thinking, these are thinking patterns that don't give us a realistic view of what's going on, or a true or accurate view of what's going on. Instead, it's more of a biased or distorted view of what's happening. And that means that we're going to potentially make decisions that are not based on the truth. So what we want to do is determine if we're engaging in any stinking thinking. And so here are some examples. All or nothing thinking. And that's when you think of situations in extremes. It's all good or it's all bad. Very rarely is a situation all good or all bad. Even this situation, there are some positives that are coming out of this COVID-19 crisis, but there are also a number of negatives. It's important to pay attention to both. And so engaging in all or nothing thinking is stinking thinking. Also, we don't want to catastrophize. That's another form of stinking thinking. And when I say catastrophize, that means predicting only negative outcomes for the future, because the future is likely going to include both positive and negative. We don't want to disqualify or discount the positive. We want to not engage in labeling. We want to not engage in mind reading. None of us are mind readers. And so when I say mind reader, that's believing what other people are thinking when they haven't even said what they're thinking. Give them a chance to say it. Ask them. Also, we don't want to overgeneralize. We don't want to engage in personalization or use should or must statements. All of those are examples of stinking thinking. And if any of our thoughts reflect then that means that we need to make some changes to our thoughts. And so if we do find that we're engaging in stinking thinking, we want to challenge the thoughts that don't reflect the truth. We want to consider alternative perspectives. And so kind of think about, what if you had a friend that came to you and they were having a really bad day? Do you usually just say, that does suck, life is horrible? Or do you help them to see things in different ways? It's important for you to be able to do that for yourself as well, because the reality is that there are frequently multiple ways to see things, and the initial way that you may be looking at something may not be the only perspective. And so alternative perspectives that reflect more of the truth of the situation is important for you to develop. Also, we want to revise our self-talk when necessary. And it's important to focus on what is going right. In terms of constructive coping strategies, this is not an exhaustive list, but these are some things that you may want to consider. You want to create a daily routine and stick with it. You want to bathe regularly. You'll feel better if you're in the house with other people. They'll appreciate it. If you have pets, they'll appreciate it. Bathing just helps us to just kind of just refresh and feel renewed. You want to get dressed. While stretch pants are comfortable, we don't want to use them as our everyday outfit. You may want to sometimes dress up a little bit more, put on some makeup if you wear it sometimes. You may want to try some new perfumes or colognes, maybe ones that you hadn't really been using regularly. You may want to engage in some grooming activities like, painting your nails or, trying out some new hairstyles, do-it-yourself hairstyles. We want to get dressed and we want to feel like, we look good, or that helps us to feel good when we see that we look good. We want to exercise regularly. We want to stay informed, but limit the amount of time that we spend watching or reading the news or negative content. So we want to place limits and have some boundaries. Engage in deep breathing, like I mentioned previously, is a great coping strategy. With deep breathing, you want to, it's very simple. You want to focus on the rise and fall of your belly. And so as you inhale, you want for your belly to distend or extend. As you inhale, you want for your belly to come in. And so you can just focus on the rise and fall. You may notice that just doing it for a minute and primarily focusing on the rise and fall of your belly can make a big difference. Up it to 5 minutes, 15 minutes. It can make a big difference in terms of recentering us. Another strategy when you're engaging in deep breathing is to focus or imagine that you can see the air flowing in and out of your nostrils as you are inhaling and exhaling. What you want to do is be fully present in the activity. You may notice that your mind may wander like a little puppy. If it does that, just notice the distraction and bring your focus back to breathing. Notice the distraction, bring your focus back to breathing, okay? It's a wonderful strategy to help us re-regulate when we become emotionally dysregulated. When we become angry, when we become really sad or really anxious, we move into a fight or flight type of mode of operating. Our brains kind of move into that automatically, and breathing helps to re-regulate our systems, helps us to slow down so that instead of just thinking about immediate survival, we're able to make thoughtful plans and engage in creative problem solving. You want to make sure that you get plenty of rest. You want to listen to, or if you're an artist or entertainer or musician, you want to play the music. Music is uplifting and it helps us to gain new perspectives even. You want to draw inspiration from the arts. There are a number of Instagram parties that have been initiated by DJs. There have been concerts that a number of artists have given through Instagram, some paid, some free. There have been a number of art shows that have been online that you can attend, both paid and unpaid. You want to participate and draw inspiration from the arts. Also dance, get yourself moving. Dancing feels wonderful and it helps to lighten your spirits. Whether you have rhythm or not, you can enjoy it. You're home. Nobody's there to judge, and just have fun. In fact, Sheila E. does some dancing on her Facebook page. So, there are different videos that you can watch. You can even do the, Beachbody, where they, do the routines and everything. You could become a dancer as a result of COVID-19. You may want to journal. Just write down your thoughts. Just get it out. You may try something new, something that you've never tried before, something that you may have thought was corny. You may actually find that it's fun. So you may give it a try. You may start a project that you've been putting off. You can volunteer or help others. For example, my chapter, Tau Beta Omega of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, has a project where we are making masks and partnering with the Los Angeles Urban League. And it's called So and So. You can do it from your home, and the mask will go to help medical professionals. So that's one thing that you can do that helps other people. What we find is that when we volunteer, when we give ourselves selflessly, it helps us to feel better about ourselves. It helps us to feel more hopeful about situations. And so try it out. Also, you want to develop a plan. So this situation is not going to go away overnight. We're in a marathon. And so as a function, we want to make appropriate plans. Some of us are business owners. Some of us have lost our jobs. Some of us have had decreased hours as a result of this. There are plans that need to be made so that we can plan accordingly, or so that we can respond accordingly. There are a number of entities around that are there to help us. Please take advantage of the services that are available to help us in our planning, whether it's financial, whether it's educational. So there are a number of things that we do have to deal with, we do need to face. And so if you engage in that deep breathing, have some cocoa, some tea, maybe a little bit of wine, engage in the planning so that we're not surprised, so that we're not blindsided. And then another coping strategy is to connect with others. So talk on the phone with friends and loved ones. Engage in social media with limits. We want to have some boundaries. Also engage in social video chat. So use FaceTime, have Zoom meetings, have Zoom parties, Zoom happy hours. Now, don't go to the happy hours every day or all day long. That's not real productive. We want to talk about productive and healthy coping. And so you want to have some fun. You want to socialize. You want to feel connected to others. You can even take it back to the old school and handwrite a letter. What? Yes, you can do that, or just simply send an email to other people. Be creative in terms of how you connect with other people. I've seen commercials where, DJs will get out on their balcony or in their driveway and have a neighborhood party, whoop, whoop, for everyone in the neighborhood. Or you can, create some new games at home with your children, or play with your pets in a different way. There are hormones that are released when we are connected to other people, whether it's physically or emotionally. We want to foster the relationships that we do have and cherish them, particularly if they feed us. And then lastly, we want to seek assistance when we need it. And so we can seek assistance from our friends and loved ones. We can seek assistance from those within our faiths. So we can reach out to pastors or ministers or prayer partners or group members. And then if you need professional assistance, it's okay to seek out professional assistance. If I had cancer, talking to my friend might be helpful, but it's not going to help me. Seeing a professional with expertise is going to be helpful, right? Helping me develop an effective treatment plan, helping me to get things in order. That's going to be helpful. And so there is no shame in needing assistance. We all do from time to time. And so there are professionals that are available to assist you. And we at Tau Beta Omega chapter wish you all the best in this marathon. We want to help to equip you with what you need as you reflect on how you've been, grade yourself, and then see what strategies you need to put in place. We wish you all the best, and We'll see you in a bit.